This section, we're going to start with an example about how long people are spending traveling to work. We've got a bunch of data. Surprise, surprise. And are you surprised? This is reported times people are driving to their jobs. Are you surprised that most times are in multiples of 5? So hopefully you had a moment to think about it. And no, I'm not surprised. When you ask somebody about how long it takes them to get to work or to school, they don't say, oh, it takes me about 17 minutes. They'll round that to about 20, 30. That's pretty normal response. Let's go ahead and take a look at these STEM plots. This is for North Carolina workers. And then down below we have another STEM plot for New York workers. So we're asked to describe the distribution, and I've put the data for North Carolina travel times is skewed right and unimodal. It's centered around 10 to 20 minutes and has a range of 60 minutes. So remember from last time, we want to use our socks. So our shape, I've done that with the skewed right and unimodal. And the spread, the outliers, there's no outliers, so I did not mention any outliers. The center, centered around 10 to 20 minutes. And then the spread. I used the range for spread because it's just a quick analysis. I didn't really need to do anything very specific since I'm just looking at some data there. The New York data has a few differences. While the shape is definitely the same, it's still skewed right, unimodal. This one's centered around 20 minutes. It definitely has a higher center than the North Carolina data. There's a range of 80 minutes, and I'm going to fix my North Carolina range. That should have been 55 minutes. The range of and I did the same, oh, nope, I didn't. Range of the New York is 80 minutes, so 85 minus 5, and that's where I made a mistake there. 85 minutes is a possible outlier. It is very significantly different than our center and all of our other values, so we're going to just mention that it's a possible outlier. This lesson is going to get into more specifics. So while we've been very general with our descriptions so far, we're going to actually get into numerical values and put a more definite meaning and precise meaning to all of these terms. The first descriptor we're going to use is, of course, mean, and I'm hoping that most of you are familiar with the term mean. The symbol we're going to use in AP statistics is what's called X bar. It's because it's an X with a bar on top of it. We're going to use that symbol from now on to for the mean, so we don't have to write out the word mean anymore. If you're not familiar with mean, it is the sum of your observations divided by the number of observations. The more compact notation is to use this sigma, which just means a sum. When I added my 15 values for North Carolina, I got 337. I'm going to divide that by 15. I've got that that's approximately 22.67 minutes. So let's talk about a couple things on the AP exam that they're going to expect. So the first thing is they're going to expect 3 decimal places after the decimal. I know in calculus they allow you to truncate. That is okay here, although rounding is preferred. So if you didn't take calculus and you don't know what it means to truncate, don't worry about it. If you're in the habit of truncating, that's fine too. The second thing though in statistics is units. You will get nailed on a free response question for not providing two things. One is called context. So if we take a look at my previous example, context would be including what the data is about, not just saying the data. Saying the data for New York travel times, that's the context of the data you're looking at. The second thing are, of course, units. So you don't want to just say the mean is 22.467. You also want to include your unit, which is minutes. I'd like you to go ahead and calculate the mean of the New York workers. Remember, all of your data is included in the stem plot rather than a list. So hopefully at 31.25 minutes there, if we were comparing, we could say, oh, well, definitely the New York workers have a longer commute than North Carolina workers, since their means are different. But hopefully you also remember from the last time, since both of these were skewed, actually the median would be a better measure of their center. Now what we're going to do is change one of our values in our North Carolina workers and see what happens here. We're going to change the 60-minute travel time to 90 minutes. So basically, I just need to add 30 minutes onto my sum. So I end up with 24.467 minutes. My mean has increased by nearly 2 minutes, which is quite significant. So 90 minutes would almost definitely be an outlier in that North Carolina worker data. So by creating an outlier, it significantly changes our mean. So that gets into what the description is of a resistant measure. The definition of a resistant measure is something that is not influenced by extreme values in your data set. Mean is not resistant, which is why it should not be used for skewed data. I'm going to go back for a moment. I had originally said that my center was around 10 to 20 minutes, but if we look at my mean, it's around 22 minutes, so that's much higher than 10 to 20 minutes. Also, for my New York data, I had said centered around 20 minutes, which is quite a bit lower than my mean, which is 31.25 minutes. That's because that skew is pulling. It's pulling that mean towards those higher values. And that does not give us a good representation of where our true center is. This is why we have a second measurement called the median. The median is a resistant measurement. So we'll get into why it's resistant in a moment. But to find the median, you want to put all of your data in order. This is the most important thing. Now, the nice thing about a stem plot, it's already put our values in order. Our North Carolina data had 15 numbers. So if I think about 15, I usually round that up to 16, divide by 2. So my median, is going to be the 8th number. So I am just going to count here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it ended up being 20. And remember I said around 10 to 20 minutes. So that was pretty close there. New York had 20 minutes. So my median will be right between my 10th and 11th number. So when you have that even count, we're going to find the median here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So between the 10th and 11th number, so that's going to be 22.5. So right between 20 and 25. So I said centered around 20 minutes, and I wasn't too far off. All right, so we've got the median being the midpoint of the distribution. If you need to, all the descriptions for finding a median are right here. All of the steps, not going to read those to you. And we are going to do an activity in class where we're going to practice finding mean and median together. So 20 minutes for North Carolina, 22.5 is median resistant. Of course it is. Remember in our previous example, I added this 90 minutes, changed that one number from 60 to 90 minutes. If I do that with my North Carolina trial, this is still going to be 20 minutes. This is still going to be that 8th number in my data set, even if I make that last number different. If I make a more extreme value, it doesn't matter. The median is still going to be 20 minutes. So that's why it's resistant. So that goes back to, I've already talked about, if it's skewed data, we do not want to use the mean because it will be pulled towards those higher or lower values if it's left skewed. So really in the skewed data, the mean will be pulled towards the skewed values. So you can just write down the mean will be pulled towards skewed values. The median will stay centered in skewed data.